Alright, this is Justice League Adventures 20. This is the series that tied in with and retold or told stories related to the Justice League animated series, the DC animated universe. This was the Justice League comic, and this is a random issue I have of it because Psychic Pilot is our bad guy. And I like me some Psychic Pilot. There is much to discuss. Psychic Pilot is our enemy. This is him. And our story is that what we are doing with Psychic Pilot is slightly inspired by, it is a bit of a retooling, but it seems inspired by Van Morrison's use of him in an Animals Man story, where Psychic Pilot was one of the few who remembered the DC universe as it was before Christmas on Infinite Earths rebooted things. And here we have him we have him experience other universes. And we do add a bit of humanity to him, because his origin now involves his wife and child dying during an alien attack, which I believe is possibly the first episode of the Justice League cartoon. We are introduced to our Justice League and the characters that make up the team. It is exactly the lineup to the animated series. We have the Vision, we have Superman, we have Wonder Woman, Batman, the Flask, the Willie West version, and Orkin Girl. Green Lanterns, the Alvin Stewart version, doesn't appear in this issue. He is mentioned as being off-planet. Orkin Girl is investigating a museum robbery. It was Psychic Pilot, and he has stolen the Medusa mask, which is Psychic Pilot's golden mask. And the Medusa mask allows the person wearing it to control other people's emotions. That is basically Psychic Pilot's powers. Emotional manipulation. So then Orkin Girl calls in the rest of the team, and Flask gets there first because he is the fastest man alive. We learn that Psychic Pilot is a psychiatrist and that he began manipulating his patients, and now he has stolen the Medusa mask, and he blames the Justice League for the death of his wife and his son. But we also find out that his marriage was falling apart anyway, and he has projected all his bitterness and hate onto the Justice League and blames them for their death rather than accept that his wife was divorcing him. I will say now, I have not seen much of the DC animated universe. The Batman cartoon was on Cartoon Network, and we didn't have Cartoon Network. We only had Fox Kids. But Spider-Man was on Fox Kids, and so was Excellent Men, and the other Marvel cartoons, and Power Rangers, and Digimon, and I think Turtles maybe. Not sure about Turtles. They might have been on Channel 5. I've since seen a lot of Batman the Animated Series, And I've seen bits of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Weirdly, not seen a single episode of Superman the Animated Series. I've seen loads of the animated movies though. I'd say maybe even all the ones that are canon to the DC Animated Universe. The thing is, I don't have the enormous connection to the DC Animated Universe that most comic book readers tend to. I've not even seen all the episodes of Batman. And I never saw it as a kid, so I don't have the same level of affection for it as a lot of people. It's good, don't get me wrong, it is good, but I think as an introduction to Batman and the world of Batman, it is brilliant, but it was not my introduction to Batman and the world of Batman. Now we have Psychic Pilot going around and toying with people's feelings and emotions and making them do whatever he wants. And the heroes are saving them from jumping to their deaths or pushing their baby into traffic. Then we get to our confrontation. The heroes and Psychic Pilot. Let's talk about Psychic Pilot. He is a Silver Age bad guy, an enemy of the Justice Society of Superheroes. He was introduced in an issue of DC Showcase, issue 55 or 56. An issue that there is a very nice condition copy of at the comic shop I go to, and I consider getting it every time. As a Justice Society of Superheroes enemy, he was confined to Earth 2, but he did manage to get in appearances like in Stir Fry Comics 68, or again in the one Justice League Justice Society crossover that I am thinking of. My introduction to him, as was yours probably, was in Christmas on Infinite Earths, where he's almost one of the main characters. He is one of the very select few characters who are in that story from beginning to end. He plays a lot of roles in that story. Unlikely champion, villain, victim. One of my takeaways from Christmas on Infinite Earths, a story I don't really like, was that Psychic Pilot was a great bad guy. If you ask me, Psychic Pilot, he has a wonderful design. He has a nice power set, which isn't entirely original, but it's something that can lend itself to a myriad of stories, as well as it having a nice visual with his mask. I am working on a theory. My favourite bad guys, my favourite characters maybe, are the ones that look like they could pass for Digimon. Psychic Pilot, he could easily be a Digimon. Like his design, it's like a Digimon design. There was someone last week that I said I liked that could. I just can't remember who. And before that, Dark Devil from Mk2. It seems to be an inclination for me. Psychic Pilot throws innocence at the Justice League by making them feel eighth. This is a pretty decent story. Nice standalone. Nothing tremendously heavy. A good read to fill a couple of minutes. I have been thinking, since I am famously not much of a Batman reader, I was thinking that maybe I should get more of his animated series related comics. Batman Adventures. There's loads of them. There's plenty to pick from. And maybe they will be more what I want out of Batman or comics than a lot of actual Batman comics. Some of the Superman ones also have art by Bethany Belieber, so I want to track them down. Psychic Pilot makes the heroes fight each other, and I know the impression is that this sort of stuff is very kiddie or looks like colouring books. But what's so wrong about a single serving of a story with ideas and specific action pieces that doesn't want to redefine what a comic is or deconstruct everything before our eyes? It is much easier to sit down and read this than issue 645 of Batman, where Batman is crying about how he still misses his mum while sucking on Catwoman's tits while she is thinking about having an affair with an evil version of Batman's dad from an alternative reality. That is a comic, by the way. That is what Batman comics are now. That is Tom Queen Batman shit in a nutshell. We have our villain force the Vision to experience all of the emotions, both positive and negative. Or maybe the Vision forces Psychic Pilot to experience the good ones, and Psychic Pilot is making Vision experience the bad ones. I don't know, that part of the story isn't entirely clear. But they snuck in a little bit of Wonderbat, an almost forbidden ship in the land of DC Comics. Batman isn't allowed to be happy, you see, so he can never have a love interest that would make him happy. He's stuck with the same woman who jilts him at the altar, or the same femme fatales that will go nowhere. Him and Wonder Woman, which a lot of fans like, chiefly because of the cartoons, him and Wonder Woman wouldn't be miserable enough, and DC legitimately do have editorial mandates to stop any Batman story where he appears happy. Jeff Parkman wrote a story, I think it was for a comic like this as well, where Batman was on a date, and they wouldn't publish it because Batman was smiling. And our end maybe calls back to one of my favourite Justice League International stories, the one with Desperado. The Vision defeats Psychic Pilot much the same way as he defeats Desperado. He gives him Psychic Nirvana. Smells like Dream Spirit. I won't explain that one later by the door because it is a very basic pun. I'll give this issue of Justice League Adventures 7 thumbs up.